My name is Lisa, and I'm an internal support coordinator with WEX FSM. I want to welcome you all to today's session of Solution Studio. There's 20 sessions in the rotation that will cover different features of the software. In the first 4 days of the week, we'll cover different features. Fridays are reserved for Q&As. So if you sign up for Fridays, there's a place for you to put in a question that you can bring to the webinar, and we'll go over that for you. To be able to sign up for other webinars, you can search for Solution Studio in the Help Center. The article will come up that contains the calendar and the previous webinar replays so that you can review them as needed. Remember, these sessions are not a replacement for customer support. So if you need assistance, don't wait for the webinar. Go to your Help Center and contact support, and they will be there to help you. Remember, there's a short survey at the end to tell us how we're doing. And if there are any subjects that you would like us to include in our webinars, please add that in there as well. And we really appreciate your help. So today we're going over purchase orders. And so why would we use purchase orders in our system? If you've never used purchase orders before, this is a good place to start to keep track of your purchases. You can also let your distributors know that they should only be allowing purchases from your company if the request is accompanied by a purchase order. This will keep anyone from buying something on their own and charging it to your account without your knowledge. The job PO contains the job number in the numbering system so that you can easily track which customer and job the parts go to, and you can use it for job costing to make sure that you're accounting for the most recent pricing from your distributor. So let's get started. Okay. So when you log into WEX FSM and you create your users, you would go to Settings, User Management, Users. And on your users, there is a permission to be able to allow to do purchase orders. So if you don't see them in your system, make sure that you go in and see that your setting is yes for this and save so that way this feature can be turned on for you. You may only want to do purchase orders from the office, or you may want to allow your techs to do them as well. So as a company, you can decide who you want this to turn on for. Okay. We also have a couple of suppliers that are integrated in our system if you use them as a distributor. If you don't, we'd have to go to another path, but under under settings, subscriptions, and then you'll come into a window that'll show your plan, and then you'll see supplier integrations. And we work with Ferguson and Daikin. If you're signed up, you should have a number here, and if you haven't, there'll be a plus and you can add it and go through and put your information in there, the supplier that you work with, their location, and then that way the product team will work to bring that information in that has your unique pricing on it. Okay. If you don't use any of these other vendors, you can go to More Applications, the Data Center, and you can get a sheet of any of the items that you have purchased from any of your suppliers and get them uploaded into our system so that they will be there for purchase orders. And the nice thing about that supplier list, it needs to come in an Excel or a CSV format. You can't have the kind of paper list that they give you that has all the nice condensers and pictures in it. It needs to be a flat file so that the dev team can upload it. And you would come in here and you would go to submit a new supplier catalog. But the nice thing is you can also use the supplier catalog for a price book if you would like to. So you can take your supplier catalog and have it loaded as a price book. You can load it as a supplier catalog to do purchase orders. And when you create a price book product, if it is loaded as supplier catalog, when you go to add a part and you search for a part, it'll allow you to add that part from the supplier catalog to your price book product. So you would go through and submit the supplier catalog, and they will ask you for the file. You can add it here, and they'll go ahead and get it loaded for you. If you add it as a price book, they're going to ask you some more questions, because if you're using it as a price book, they're going to need to know the markup from the part cost that you have in there, if you charge tax, what income account it goes to, and that type of thing, so that they can put it in there for you as a price book. Okay, so if you go into more applications, parts catalogs, you're going to see this screen. And remember the ones that I showed you that were integrated into our system? We'll have this little kind of lightning bolt next to it. And you will have a drop down of any that you've loaded in there. And if you decide not to load them and you want to add them on your own as you go, you can do that as well. So let's go to Anderson. Anderson doesn't have any parts in it. So when you go to create a purchase order and you hit add item, it's going to ask you to add one. When you create a supplier that you're adding on your own, you can just come in here and click plus and add a part named part. You can, that is the only required field for this. So you can add it per part. Okay. And then that will enable it in the drop downs. And the other thing is once you get to a job, and if you're doing this on your own and you're not loading it, you can come to a job and you can go down to purchase orders and click new, and you choose your supplier, and I'm going to choose Anderson, supplier account, and hit next. And it's going to bring up what most of our job forms look like. The proposal, the invoice, and the purchase order all kind of look the same. They have all the information at the top. You had to add item or create custom line item. And we know there's no parts in Anderson's right now. So I could go in and hit add custom line item. I could name it capacitor. I could put the quantity, I could put a description, and I could put a price, and I could add it to my PO. I could also click this box and add it to the supplier catalog and add these as I go for my most used parts. And then the next time I go to create a purchase order, I would click add item from the catalog, and this capacitor would be there for me to choose next time for my next purchase. Or if it's something that's just going to be a one-off that you don't need it to be in there, you can just add it as a custom line item on here and move on with life. So if I don't add it to the supplier catalog, I can add it here. Okay, so I have it here. It's a zero price. It's never going to be that. They're never going to give you anything for free. But it has a PO number because I did it for the job. So it will contain PO as the prefix. Invoices are I, proposals are P, proposal comparisons are PC. So you can know that this was a purchase order from this job number, and it has an extension of -1. So if you order more things from this job from different vendors, it will be 14959-2 and on up for how many ever purchase orders that you create. You can also name it here, and you can say attic unit, so that when this purchase order comes in, you know that this capacitor is for the attic unit. Okay. You can go in, you can give them any notes. You'll be out of town, you want it left somewhere, or somebody be picking it up, whatever notes you want to put on the purchase order for them. Sign your name and save, or you can delete. Anything in our system usually to delete is in small red print. I'm going to save it. I could have saved and emailed it, but I want to show you also on the job. It's like our other job forms. It functions just the same way. The last day that it's modified, the status, the amount, And you can do a blind email, and this will email to the email that you set up in the distributor when you create that. Or you can click on the PDF and view it first, make sure everything's okay, email it, print it for the guys to take with them, download it. So you have several options to get it to your distributor. If you have signed up for Ferguson or Daikin, when you email it, it goes directly to them for the order. So it's another nice feature if you do use either of those vendors where you can integrate that in here as well, because you don't have to print it, take it, it emails it to them and they are filling your order. Okay. So how do you monitor these? This is a job PO. If I went back to parts catalog and I created one from here, I'm going to go to Ferguson and I clicked on any of the items that were in here. It's going to start, or you can search by what's in there. Add item. It's going to start a PO for me. When I generate this PO, I can change the quantity. This is the price that the real-time price that's coming from Ferguson because I have an account there and it's integrated. Generate PO, and it's going to ask me if I want to create a warehouse PO or a job PO. And the difference between the two is, let's say Ferguson is offering a special that if you order a certain amount, they're going to give you a discount. And a lot of vendors do that. Lennox does that. Usually they have a couple of times a year where they want you to stock up. And you don't have a job for it yet, but you know you're going to use that equipment. So you can create a warehouse PO that is not attached to a job, get that special pricing, and hold it in stock, and then use it as you go. So that's the difference between a warehouse PO. It is independent of a job. Okay. A job PO, if I wanted to go job PO, I could go in. Once I click on this, I'm going to go find my job. It'll ask me my job number, and I can go ahead and assign it from here as well to a job. Now to manage these, you would go to Jobs, Purchase Order List, and this will allow you to see all the purchase orders you have out there, the status, and everything about them. So you could see a supplier order number if you had it in there, the one that I named, attic unit, the last time it was modified, when it was issued, and right now it's open draft. So you can always change it to submitted if I emailed it to them. And once my part comes in, I can change it to received. There's also shipped. If I know it's shipped, or I reached out and they said, okay, it's on its way. Any of these you can do, and you can cancel them. Once you receive the part, you can make it closed. Any of these columns will sort, just like every other report in or list in our system. You can sort that way. Okay. So you can also email it from here. You can see the job type if it's a job PO. If it's a warehouse PO, you're not going to see that in there, and it's not going to be attached to a job. It is just going to be for your stock. Okay. So that is basically how POs work. There are a couple moving pieces in here, and everything is like everything else in our system is connected. So does anybody have any questions on how these work or how you're using it in your system? One other thing, POs do not sync to QuickBooks. So if you're used to using a PO system out of QuickBooks, you can go ahead and use these numbers in QuickBooks and put them on your purchase order number in QuickBooks so that they are the same. Anytime you get a receipt or a pick ticket or an invoice from your vendor and you're telling them that you have the PO number ahead of time, it should come back in with the PO number so that you can match it to that job in QuickBooks as well. So it's really nice way to keep track of it, especially with the job number, because you always know when you do a job PO exactly where that part is going to be used. Let me show you on the job. So on this job, if I go to the profit and loss, when you do a PO, it will bring that cost into the job as well so that you can job cost. I didn't put any money on that part, so it's a zero. And if you added an item from your price book and it had a cost, you can choose which one you want to use. The question is, how messy does the price book item list in QuickBooks get with all the alternate price books? So are you asking, so if you had a price book here and the flat rate price book, so if you have QuickBooks and you have a QuickBooks item list and you already had a lot of these items in QuickBooks, maybe from your old system, or you were using those to bill, or you want those to use those to bill. If you, let me create an invoice. So if you loaded from QuickBooks and you hit add item, you have the option from going from your price book, if you have the flat rate price book, and from your QuickBooks item list if that was loaded. So if you want to bill from your QuickBooks item list because you already have it in QuickBooks and you want to use that, I'm not sure anything was loaded in the test account because this one doesn't sync to, oh, there are some things in there. Nice. Okay, so you could use these to bill like you always bill, and then your QuickBooks item list is not going to get any bigger. If you pull in something from your price book and you build your price book new as you come into the system, as you add these items, it is going to increase the number of items in your QuickBooks item list. The same with flat rate. It won't load the whole price book in there because especially flat rate, it's got like 15,000 items in there. So as you use these and these are added to a job form, they'll come in one or two to add to your QuickBooks item list. Is that what you were asking? There's just a few of us in here. You can always unmute yourself if you have more or you need me to dial it in for you just a little bit. Okay, the suppliers won't add to your QuickBooks item list. Okay. Um, the suppliers will just add to your supplier catalog and used for the purchase orders that you're creating in our system. Purchase orders don't sync. Those items don't sync. But like I said before, if you went to Price Book and My Price Book and added a product, and if I went into a single part only, okay. Yes. So if I came in and I search for capacitor, I could come in here and go to price book. Let me see, there's probably going to be tons and tons of pages of them, especially since Profit Rhino's in here. But see how it says Ferguson? I could use my Ferguson integration part to add as my price book part. And then if that was added to a job form, then that would sync to the QuickBooks item list. Does that make sense now? Yes, great. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. Well, um, one of the things that I wanted to show you today, because I noticed our little help center guy down here is search for help and solution studio. I noticed this morning when I was going in and looking for things. We're getting more articles, excuse me, more articles in here. So this is the one that you want to choose, Solution Studio, Advanced Working Sessions and Learning. Excuse me, allergies are definitely in full flight here. This is the one that you want to click on to get to the calendar and the replays. Okay. Because it's starting to get a little bit busy in here because we've been doing these for about this, is, I think, our third week now. So the other articles are in here as well, standalone. But when you're looking for the sign up, it will show up here. Okay. Also, back here, contact support anytime you need help. And you can search for anything in our system, in our knowledge base, to go over any subject that you may need any additional help. Okay. If no one else has any questions, I'm going to be respectful of your time and let you guys get back to work. And you have a great rest of your day.